Hello, friends. We hope you are doing great today. In case you saw something weird in the beginning of this, that was me just looking to see if we were live because, guys, Facebook did some updates. I don't know if you're like streaming Zoom live these days, but whatever. They were freaking me out. But anyway, hello, friends. It is great to see you today. In case you don't know me, my name is Elle Campbell, and this is the lovely Linda Moon. Linda, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Reeling after a 3-day weekend, but it's going to
Man.
be a great one.
I love it. I love it. Well, friends, thank you for joining us in this month's deep dive of Grow Kids curriculum. If this is your first time seeing a video like this, welcome. We do this every month in the group, and what we are doing here is we are giving you a preview of some things that are coming up in Grow Kids curriculum. So with Grow Kids, in case you don't know this, you can actually totally customize all the resources we give you. You don't have to follow our scope and sequence. You can like do the series and the events anytime you want. But just for the sake of people who are on our scope and sequence, every month we kind of do this preview of what is coming up. So we are going to go through two things today. The first thing is we're going to go through our recommended series for the month of March, which is called Blueprints. And then we're also going to look at a really fun Easter event that is a flashlight scavenger hunt. It's kind of like a new fun take on a typical Easter egg hunt. So for those of you who are like, man, I am sick of Easter egg hunts, I need something new and exciting. Friends, Grow Kids is here to help. So we're going to cover that. So that's the plan today. And Linda, are you ready to do this? Are you excited?
Yes, let's do this. Super excited.
Good. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm also going to close out of my email because I think I just assaulted your ears with some chimes, everyone. Sorry about that. Okay. It was kind of a pretty sound though. All right. So we've got a couple things to show you today. And I'll also say this, guys, if you are not using Grow Kids, hopefully this video will still give you some really fun ideas that you can take and steal in your ministry environment. But if you are using Grow Kids, then this is really meant to kind of be like kind of the behind the scenes, like pro tips of how to make the most of all of this good stuff. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see some of these really fun resources. And let's see here. Alrighty, so we've got, oh, actually, let me do it this way. I'm gonna drag this guy over here and we're gonna look at this. So friends, the first thing we're gonna do today is we're gonna look at this teaching series. It is called Blueprints. It is written by Aaron Conley on the elementary side and written by Abby Berg on the preschool side. It is so good. Linda, tell us about this series.
It is so good. And I know you guys, if you've been watching every month, I say this about every series every month, but it is really good. Blueprints is taking on a whole new construction theme because we're talking about, Jesus's teachings and God's plans through Jesus. So it was really fun to dream up this one and see how our authors and editors just made it super amazing. So should we just dive right in? Yes.
Yeah, let's do it. And you know what I was thinking when you were talking to is just the idea of like the different themes that we give these series. One thing that I love that our team kind of goes through with, you know, much love and labor is figuring out what these themes are going to be for the series. Because like, sure, you could slap just any kind of random theme on any series. Like, oh, I don't know, let's do farm animals this week or this month. But what we really try to do is to try to find a theme that's going to connect with kids and be really fun, but that isn't random, that actually strategically helps elevate the message that we're trying to send and communicate. So I love this Blueprints theme for talking about God's plans. It's just great. I love it. I love the connection.
So fun. I mean, like hours and hours of Zoom calls and phone calls and FaceTime calls with Brooklyn, Lindsay most of the time, but it's so fun. It's so much fun, you guys. And this one is really special. So this month we are talking about, once again, Jesus's teachings from the Gospels. In the first week, we're going to talk about the story of Jesus clearing the temple and how that kind of sets the stage for what Jesus came to do and what God's plan for Jesus and for all people was through Jesus. In the second week, we're talking about how we're talking about John 3:16. And it's funny because everyone's like, we all know this verse, but I don't think we study it in depth with kids as much. We're just like, here's a Bible verse, memorize it because the whole world does. It's on the bottom of In-N-Out cups and whatnot. But we can actually talk about the context in which this verse came from. So I love that so much. In week 3, we're talking about how Jesus brought glory to God by obeying God. Again, it's kind of more of like an abstract passage because it's not a concrete story with lots of illustrations, but again, it kind of sets the stage for what Jesus is doing in the weeks leading up to Easter next month. And then finally, in week 4, we're talking Palm Sunday and Jesus entering Jerusalem and how these plans are being fulfilled and how we play a part in those plans as well. So that's really exciting.
That is exciting. So yeah, this friends, we are trying to follow some of the church calendar here and helping you lead up to Easter in a really helpful way. So the stories and the passages that are picked out for the series will hopefully help you do that and really kind of introduce kids to like the season of Lent. So please enjoy.
Yeah, and the great thing about blueprints is it shows that God, God was intentional about sending Jesus and sending a savior. And it shows kids that this isn't just some random thing that happened many years ago. This is something that was set in motion long ago and it was deliberate. And I think kids are going to really enjoy that. And our memory verse for the month is Jeremiah 29:11. And I know a lot of you Bible scholars hate that this verse gets misused a lot, but we've brought it back to the plans of the Savior for all people. So we're really excited to bring that for kids.
Yeah, that's so good. Love it. God's got some plans, friends. God had plans for
Yeah.
Israel. God has plans for us. God's got all the plans. So I'm excited to talk about this on a kid level in the month of March. So friends, we scrolled through a whole bunch of pages for you. So hopefully if you're not using Grow, you got kind of an idea of like a bunch of the things that we give you. We're not going to focus on all of it in these videos. We're just really focusing on the lessons. So the first one is week 1. And as Linda, you said, we're talking about how God's plans are perfect. And in here, we're talking about the story of Jesus clearing the temple. So what are some things you want to highlight in this week? And what does Jesus clearing the temple have to do with God's plans being perfect?
Oh, those are some great questions. Well, let me start off with one of the first activities that come up in our lesson guide is an activity called telephone charades. And y'all probably played it before. It's just having kids in the front and passing charades down the line. It's always really fun. So we have social distancing hacks for those of you who missed it. We started them last month, I believe. So we usually try to introduce hacks in different ways for you to make it accessible for your context. And we're also including ways to do it if you are social distancing, which I think it's good tips for all of us at this point, whether or not you're required to do it. So the hack for that was what we're saying is instead of just having kids lined up random intervals, obviously line them up 6 feet apart. And then you're supposed to like tap the kid on the shoulder when you're ready to pass down an action. But instead of doing that, because, 6 feet apart, kind of hard to tap them, you can have all of them wearing blindfolds of some sort. And then, to stick with the social distancing theme, you could even use like the face mask kids use because, they put it over their heads anyway. You can use that as a blindfold. And then when the kid is ready to pass down his action to the next player, he can just call out that person's name, say L, and then L could take off her mask and then see the action and then pass it down when they're ready. So that could be a really fun way to do that in a very safe way.
Yes, that is so good. I love that we are providing those social distance hacks as well as our online hacks. So friends, if you are like, man, I can't use my curriculum because, I'm online or I need to do social distancing. We are trying to help you with that. So make sure you check those out. They're really good. And even just like the examples that you just gave now, Linda, like all of these things, friends, you can adapt for whatever you have in store. So if you are playing another game that involves, tapping, this is a great solution for any game that uses kind of those game mechanics. So yeah,
Right.
take these ideas, apply them as you will. Love it. What else you want to look at, Linda?
Right. And then you asked earlier about how our big idea relates to our Bible story. So we're here at the Bible story. And again, this is a story about Jesus clearing the temple. And I think we focus it for kids. Well, at least when I was growing up and the way I've even taught it as a young teacher, it was always just focusing on how angry Jesus got and how he just like turned the tables and like made a whip and just like was super angry the entire time. And I think what we want to emphasize is what he actually says after, which is talking about how you could destroy the temple, but he would erect it in 3 days. And that kind of part gets glossed over in kids ministry, but that's actually what we're focusing on with this story about how he was referring to himself and how he was predicting what God was going to do through him. And so I think that's really important to kind of add that to the story of Jesus turning the tables over and chasing out the money changers.
Yes, that's good. That is a very important part of the story. And also, friends, if you are using Grow Students curriculum, just so you know, we also cover this story in volume 4 of Grow Students in the series that is called Back to the Future. So if you are looking to do some alignment between kids and students, that is a great way to do it. So check it out. I think it's week 1.
Awesome. And then an additional thing that we suggest for the Bible story this month is to align with a theme. We can have, so as you're telling the story, we suggest to start building something like a Lego kit or like a wood model kit, whatever is comfortable for you, like have the instructions out and then kind of like build it as you're telling the story. So it's not supposed to, like, the model itself is not supposed to like represent like what you're talking about. It's just kind of like, it's like the kids walked in on you while you're like in your workshop and you're just building something. You're like, oh, hey kids, I'm just building this right now, but let me tell you about Jesus and just kind of keep it light and fun. But you might want to rehearse or actually like print out the script and have it next to you on the table or something, so you don't lose your place as you're focused so intently on building your model. And this is something we're gonna just compound each week. And so by week 4, we're hoping you're like done with your model and you can show it to the kids and be like, look, we started with the plan and now we have a finished product. So that's awesome.
I love it. That's so fun. And it reminds me, Linda, of like these YouTube videos that are really trendy right now where kids are just watching people like play video games or something
Yes.
while talking, like the whole Twitch vibe. It's
Yes.
kind of like a real life version of that. Like I'm going to
Yeah,
teach
it
you
is.
and you're going to listen while I make you this cool model. So love it. Great. We're going analog on YouTube trends. I'm into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's insane because my 6-year-old loves watching those. And because like I don't let him play some of these games and he just watches other people play them. So he got a workaround. It's really interesting.
That's great. Love it. All right. What else we got?
Oh, and for the big idea every week, we also have a fun little gimmick. So we suggested using blueprint paper, like just like a large piece of blueprint paper, roll it up in kind of like a tube where they carry I don't know, is that what they do?
Yeah,
They
they put
carry
it
the
in
pans
your
around. And you can like, just roll it out and be like, oh, these are the blueprints. This is our big idea for the week. Another fun thing you can do though is you can actually make a blueprint of your church or your space and then like hide the blueprints, like, or just even the big idea on a slip of paper somewhere in your space and then have them look for it on the blueprint, like indicate it on your blueprint. And I thought that'd be kind of a fun way to extend that. So it's not just unrolling a paper and like, here, read the big idea, but
Yeah.
there's a little, like kind of like a scavenger hunt.
I love it. That is so fun. Oh my goodness. There's so many like really fun things you can do with this theme. I'm so into it.
Absolutely. And, I think, I don't know, my uncle works in construction. So, like, blueprint paper is actually really easy to get if you know anybody. Like, they throw them out like all the time. So, you can probably get used blueprints somewhere if they're not like for some really secure building or
Right.
something.
Yeah. You don't release the Pentagon blueprints or anything.
Yeah.
from your-
Maybe hold on to those.
keep those, keep those safe. All right. Awesome. What else we got for week 1?
Well, this one's actually for preschool. So we do have a preschool version of this entire the elementary curriculum, and a lot of the activities do overlap because they're kind of based on each other. But we did make it very specific and friendly for our preschool friends.
That's good.
So there's one activity called Puzzle Mix Up, and it's kind of about having kids like find a puzzle piece and like put it together. But again, this is kind of a social distancing hack. We're saying how we can have kids come up one at a time and choose a puzzle piece, and then they can tape it to the wall, and then have the kids continue until the puzzle is done, instead of having like all the kids in it at the same time. But a fun way you can do this also is to use adhesive Velcro strips, put it on the back of the puzzle pieces and on the board. So in case they do place it in the wrong place on the wall, it's not stuck there with tape and you have to like peel it off. And so that'll be a really good way to do that. And again, like this is something you can use for any other similar activity that requires like display and doing things one at a time. So that's really fun.
Listen, as somebody who deeply loves puzzles and Lego, I just am really feeling this series. So thank you for making this.
I know, I thought of you a lot as I was reading through this again. I was like, wow, this is for Elle. This is Elle series.
Oh, that's so good. What a joy. All right, back to the elementary lesson. Anything else for week 1, or should we move on to week 2?
Yeah, we can move on, but I do want to point out that the coloring pages are really fun this month.
Let's see.
Because they're not just coloring.
I love this. I love the sassy Jesus picture.
I know. Yeah, it's cool because this is actually I think this is the preschool coloring. I think the elementary one might go higher. I'm not sure. But anyhow, yeah, so we have a connected dots for week 1, and the preschool one is simpler. The elementary one's more complex. I forget. They're different for sure. And so when they connect the lines, spoiler alert, it's a table. So
amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
I love it.
Reminds me of kids who don't want to color would want to color.
Yeah, that's good. It's like more of an activity page than just a basic coloring page, which is wonderful. By the way, friends, you're seeing me scroll a lot. We've had some conversations in the Facebook group recently, and also as a team. We've got some fun ways that we are making these PDFs a bit shorter for you in the future, because you've told us we don't need this other page or like this page. We don't need it. So we're trimming this down for you to make your life a little easier. So wonderful. Okay.
We love doing that. Tell us if we're making things you don't need.
We always we love editing. It's our favorite thing. Tell us what we can edit and we're here for it. All right, let's look at week 2. And this week we're talking about how love is the foundation. Oh my goodness, I love these little themes. Love is the foundation of God's plans. And this is the John 3:16 focus that you talked about previously, Linda. God so loved the world. What do we want to know about this week?
Okay, well, one activity right there off the front page is the one called Jenga Challenge. And, you know, it is what it's called. It is a Jenga challenge, but just for the sake of social distancing and just because it's more interesting, like try to use those jumbo Jenga blocks if you have access to them, because it's a very popular long game. They're everywhere. But if you don't want to like shell out the money to purchase them, you could definitely make your own out of cardboard boxes, like frozen food boxes, or even tissue boxes. Just get a little creative, tape a few boxes together, and there are a lot of resources online that will show you how to do that. And I think that'll be a really great way to do this, just to make it more interesting than like tiny little Jenga blocks, especially if you're trying to make a point with them.
Yes, so great. All right, love that hack. And everybody's got tissue boxes, right?
Yeah,
not a thing. You could find those. All righty, what else you want to look at?
The next activity is one called Tower of Hanoi Challenge. It's really cool. Like I don't think a lot of people know that's what it's called, but it's the one where it's like a ring, or there's like 3 stacks, and then there's like rings of different sizes, and you kind of have to like sort them in the right order. Like, so like you have to move like one stack from one side to the other, but in the correct order. And I don't know. I did this in elementary school. It's one of those like brain teaser type things.
Yeah.
We did recommend a set that you could purchase on Amazon, but if you have access to those stacking toys, like the toddler ones, I'm talking about, like the Fisher Price ones that are like, if you can get 3 of those, because those are fairly inexpensive, and use that would work just as well. So
amazing.
I know. I love preschool toys.
Yeah,
and
great.
you get to really play with them after you turn like 4. So here's a way you can play with preschool toys again.
What a joy. I'm into it.
Or if you don't want to do that, you could also get different colored masking tape. And some sort of peg or something to use as the stand. And to make the different size of masking tape, you would just, roll out the tape until you get it to the size you want, but you don't want to waste the tape obviously just for this activity. So I suggested maybe getting like an empty ribbon spool or something and wrap the excess tape around that so you can have tape to use at another time.
Linda, you are just the queen of hacks. Like, these are all wonderful ideas. How do you come up with all of these things? I'm so proud.
It's called working for a church with limited budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, some of you are feeling me, I know.
Perfect. Okay, great. What else you want to highlight?
And we have an activity for our memory verse. We have one called Memory Pieces, and it's about we cut up the pieces of the memory verse and then have kids put it together. But again, this is another probably like a social distancing hack. You can actually cut up the pieces for every kid instead of having them work in groups and have them try to do it on their own. Just put them all in individual bags and then they can do that on their own. And anytime you are required to do anything with the memory verse, use the graphics we provide you in your memory verse programming folder. So it's programming folder, and then there's a memory verse folder. There's actually like a graphic that you can use for this purpose, so you don't have to type it up yourself.
So we're so nice. We just give the people what they need whenever we can.
We just want to help however we can.
We do. Friends, listen, we're here to just make your dreams come true. So you tell us what you want, and then we see if we can make it for you. That's the game we like to play.
Yes.
We so
do this
great
all the time.
We do. It's a favorite. Oh my goodness, stop. This is so cool.
Yes. Yeah. And then the preschool one, I believe it's a little less complex.
Yeah. Fewer squares to color in.
Fewer squares. Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Oh yeah. There we go. We get some cool handouts.
And speaking of preschool, there's an activity in preschool called Construction Zone. This is something I really love doing with my kids. I have 2 boys. And so, you get like a sand, just any kind of big box, and you put the sand, and then you put like little construction toys, like little mini excavators and bulldozers, and they have a lot of fun with that. But again, for social distancing sake, you might want to create like mini versions of that for each kid to play with, and then label that and say like, this is Tyler's box, and he can use that for the entire month. So that'd be a really good thing. And if you want, you could even gift it at the end, so you don't have to worry about cleaning it or anything.
Right. Yeah, I don't really want to clean up sand. That's great. That's so nice. Great idea. Amazing.
Yeah,
all right. Exactly. All right. So that was week 2. Now let's take a look at week 3. Oops, I'm scrolling too fast. What am I doing? Here we go. The big idea for this week is that Jesus said yes to God's plans. And the Bible story we're talking about is how Jesus brings glory to God, which, as you mentioned, isn't necessarily like a typical narrative story. It's a little bit more of like an abstract idea, but we give lots of examples and tangible things to make this abstract idea very concrete for kids. So tell us a little bit about that, Linda.
Great. For this week, I want to emphasize on some of the more discussion type modules because the activities are pretty straightforward. But there's one called Story, and it's called Saying Yes. And we're inviting leaders to share a time when they had to say yes, or they chose to say yes to something that they might have not been sure of at the beginning. I don't know, maybe a marriage proposal or something. I don't know. That might not be a good example, but yeah, whatever your story is, please remind the kids that we don't have to say yes to everyone about everything. Kids are very impressionable, so once you say, well, Jesus said yes to God's plans and you want us to say yes, so they might take that the wrong way. So make sure you emphasize that, like, no, this is not about saying yes to everything all the time, and God gives us wisdom on when to say yes, but let them know how in the instance of Jesus and in the context of your story it worked out. So just wanted to throw that out there in case you forget to highlight that point and we have kids just saying yes all the time to
right
things.
Yeah, that would not be ideal. But I really like that we are doing personal stories in here. That this is a really useful type of module. And friends, because you have access to the message builder, you can always remember to like drag new modules in or like remove things that aren't working for you. But this story module, I feel like, is a really useful one because kids like to hear modern day current examples of what it looks like to follow Jesus. And whether it is like a story about something God did in your life or just something that's like a little bit more tangible, to just kind of help them connect with an abstract idea like we're doing here. Stories are so useful and they're free. Telling a story is free. So make use of those modules. They're really wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great, like for those of you who are prepping like sermons for the kids, it's a great way to tie that into your sermon as well. Because sometimes you're like, I want to give them an example and I'm not sure what to use. So that's a great prompt for you to get you thinking.
Mm-hmm. So great. All right. What else we got?
There is a reflection module right there called Jesus Gave It All for You. And this is kind of like one of those thought-provoking questions. It's like, how would you feel about it? What are your thoughts if you knew you'd had to like die for other people? And it gets really deep, and this could quickly devolve into like a trolley experiment kind of situation
Yeah.
where like I would die if it, came to if I was saving 50 people from a moving train or something. But
Suddenly
like,
we need to bring in an ethics professor to talk to elementary.
right, exactly.
Don't go that route, friends.
Yeah, that might not be where you want to go with that. So the conclusion for this reflection module is not about like under what circumstances I would be willing to die, but it's more about grasping the magnitude of what Jesus did for all of us. And so kind of steer the conversation that way.
Yeah. And so that's why this isn't like a big giant module with like lots of instructions. Like this is really meant to kind of just be like kind of a quick thought, right, Linda, that you're kind of putting out there, having kids think about for a second, and then we're moving right into the response. This isn't like a big prolonged situation.
Yeah, and just get them thinking about it. And I think that's needed for kids, and just let kids kind of let that fester in their brains as they move on to the next modules.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one I want to highlight is, I think it's the small group activity, Your Yes. And kids are going to write something that they're going to say yes to this week. Make sure you do clarify that they're saying yes to something specific that is related to loving God and obeying God and making someone they love happy. Because some kids are going to write, I will say yes to playing more video games. That's going to happen. So make sure the instructions are crystal clear about what kinds of things they should be saying yes to.
That's very good. Yes. Perfect. Wonderful, wonderful point.
Yes.
Okay, we have to look at this coloring page. What's happening here? This is so cool.
Yeah, it's a color by grid situation. So again, spoiler alert, it's going to spell the word yes if you color in the right blocks.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness. These coloring pages are so cute.
They're really fun. They're really fun. And in the preschool for this week, we have actually some fun playtime stations. We do like to incorporate one section every week for preschool where it's more unstructured play, where they can kind of think about what they learn, but it's not like very, very structured. So there's a couple stations called like nuts and bolts, where it's like a sensory bin full of bolts and nuts and washers, preferably toy versions. Like, let's not give them rusty nails and things.
No, please not. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and then there's one called Demolition Station, which I think is super cool. You get like a plastic ball, make that your wrecking ball, and then you set up cardboard blocks, and they get to like swing the ball to demo the blocks. And I think that'd be a really fun way to tie it into the theme.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it's really cute.
I want to play.
I know. Me too. I saw we have pictures of it in our programming guide. And I was like, I want to do this.
Let's pull that up really quick.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar, friends, we give you this programming guide with really fun decorating ideas for every series. And these are just Pinterest links. So we link to like the articles or the source where it came from, so that you can get instructions on how to do it. So there's the Jenga. Let's see, some sensory bins. Oh my goodness, these are so cute.
Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Oh yeah, so in that top right hand where the Jenga blocks are, yeah, that's the demo station. So you see that kind of crane and then there's a ball and that they would throw to knock those blocks
This
over.
is the best.
I don't know, it's
I love the
fun.
series. I can't handle
I
it.
also love that they're all decked out with their reflective vests and hard
They
hats.
are so decked out. I'm
Yeah.
into it. Wow. Friends, if you show up to church wearing a reflective vest all month, please send us your selfie because that sounds awesome.
Please. We love seeing pictures. I feel like for last month for Challenge Accepted, I think that was the most I've seen pictures of everyone's space, and I loved it so much. So
Yes,
please keep posting what you're doing. We love
yes,
seeing them.
please. We were just talking this week about our Instagram posts and some things that we're going to be doing. So we are actually going to be collecting some of your pictures to repost on Instagram. So feel free, tag Linda whenever you have something awesome to share because we want to see. Okay, week 4. This is the last week of this series. This one is a 4-weeker because March is a 4-week month this year. And the big idea we're covering here is I am included in God's plans. And the story we're talking about is that Jesus enters Jerusalem. What's happening here, Linda? Walk us through this.
This is our Palm Sunday. I started that sentence thinking it was going to go somewhere else. And the big idea is I'm included in God's plans, and it doesn't seem super intuitive as to why that would be the big idea for celebrating Jesus entering Jerusalem. But ultimately, it's that entrance to Jerusalem to carry out God's plans for us. And so I think, and we also even include the part where people got involved in the celebration, and so everyone has a part to play. And so there are a lot of ways you can go with this, but ultimately it's like the plans are about to be fulfilled, and it's because of it's for us and we're a part of that. So it's a interesting and new direction, I think, for how we normally take the Palm Sunday message.
Yeah, that's great.
So for the first activity is the one on that first page called Chair Challenge. And it's kind of like an object lesson where you get 4 volunteers. You might have seen this on YouTube where it's like 4 people, they kind of like lay down on each other, like kind of overlapping on top of chairs. And then they remove the chairs and then they can actually all stay up. Like it's one of those weird like optical illusion type of activities. But again, for social distancing sake, you probably might not want to do that, or you might just not have the confidence to do that. So one way you can do this and still get the point across, because the point of this activity is that everybody needs to do their part. If like one person decides I'm just going to lay down and chill, then it won't work. So to stay with the whole theme of construction and whatnot, what you can do is you can create like a simple Rube Goldberg machine, just like a really simple one, have like dominoes come down and like push a ball down a book, and then something cool happens. There's a few links in our social distancing hack document that you can use for reference. And if you don't want to build one, you can maybe even show a video of one. There are some hilarious ones on YouTube. Like the one we linked is the one where the guy's like, hey, could you pass the salt? And like, they're trying to pass the salt in like a social distance. I don't know if you've seen this environment, and it's like this entire contraption. It's like a 4-minute long contraption for the salt to get to the guy.
That's
and it's
great.
It's hilarious. I love this so much. So yeah, you can show a picture like that about how every little part needs to be in place and it needs to do their job for the plan to succeed. So
yeah, love that. Another thing I was thinking about, Linda, is that for this one, since it is kind of an object lesson, if you've got like people in your family who are in your safe bubble, I mean, you could film a video of you guys doing this little chair activity and then just play the video while you teach too.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, because I was going to say maybe you can just show the YouTube video, but it won't be as fun unless it's people they know. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, film it at home with people in your little safe space. It's great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it'd be fun to try. Anyway.
Yes, it would. And especially if it doesn't work, that's very fun.
Yes, that would be even funnier.
And if you film one that doesn't work, we want to see that. So
yes, we want to see that. We want to see all the things. Send us everything.
We're just really greedy. We just want to like go to church with all of you, but we can't. So send us just highlight videos. Amazing. Okay, what else do you want to look at, Linda?
For the Bible story this week, this is where you're going to be finishing up your project. And so, just a couple tips. If you have been working really slowly every week and you haven't gotten very far yet, and you're like, I'm not going to finish this project in the course of this Bible story, like go ahead and like kind of work on it in advance before your Bible story. So, you just need to do like a few finishing touches. Or, if it's pretty much ready to go, leave a few pieces and then invite kids up to actually finish it with you. I think that'd be a good interactive way to tell the story and get them involved in your project.
That's great. Amazing. I love these kind of progressive object lessons that we do sometimes. We do them in kids and we do them in students sometimes too, but just this idea of like building something over time or like seeing something kind of come together over the course of like 4 or 5 weeks is just like so satisfying. I love it. I'm glad that we do these.
Yeah.
Alrighty, what else you want to look at?
Oh, yeah. And then we have a response module called Make It Personal. And we are inviting kids to imagine what they think or maybe think what God's plans for them might include. And just based on their interests and whatever they think their life should be at whatever age they are, they should have it all mapped out by now. So we're having kids partner up, and they're kind of, but it's not just like me saying like I think I want to do this, but we're inviting partners to kind of identify it in their friends, like, I actually think Joel would be great at this. And it's a really cool way of affirming each other and getting kids to think about someone that's not themselves. But if you are concerned about the pairing aspect, the preteen hack actually, that was preteen hacks for this month, I think, are by Angie Do It. Hi, Angie, if you're watching, or Keegan, if you're watching. Um, and we have the preteen hack is really fun. So it's like a version of 10 fingers, and they would just kind of say, like, they'll take turns saying, like, I think God's plan for me might include teaching, and anyone who kind of fits that mold, they would like put a finger down and just keep going until everyone has all 10 fingers down, or they just run out of things to say.
That's good. Yes. Love that. Also, I wanted to read this little comment from Anna Howard. Her idea for like that progressive object lesson is that they're building like a big Lego thing and then taking a time lapse video of it and using that as like a little segment, like a transition between segments, and kind of playing that throughout the series, which is a great idea.
That is a wonderful idea. Yes.
So
See, this is
creative.
why we need you guys. This is why we want to spy on all of you.
Exactly. Let us spy. Amazing. Cool. Anything else for this week?
For elementary, those are the main things. For preschool, we have a snack. Oh, so every week for preschool, we suggest some pretty fun snacks. For this week, though, I wanted to highlight, it's called Cup of Dirt, and it's really not a cup of dirt, so don't be alarmed. It's pudding cups with like crushed Oreo topping and with candy corn, which are supposed to be like construction cones. And then
That's so cute.
yeah, we even link to like these shovel-shaped spoons that kids can use. I don't know, all the cute things. It's like those of you who love doing like themed birthday parties, like our preschool snacks, like we love making those things. But again, for social distancing wise, you might not want to have kids like grabbing into a bowl of things to top their cups. So you could maybe prepare like prepackaged like bento boxes, or like the meal prep boxes, put some crushed Oreo topping, put some candy corn, put the spoon, put the pudding, and have them put it together in their box. And that would be really fun.
That sounds good and safe. I like that idea. Yeah.
And I feel like this is a fun one for elementary too, though. Like
I do too. I want to do it. I'm old
yeah.
and I want to do it.
Okay, and beyond.
Yeah. And
Our
beyond.
preschool curriculum is for like age 3 and up. We're up. We're included.
We are definitely, yeah, we are up, but that is totally fine. So great. Amazing. Well, Linda, thank you so much for walking us through that series. Obviously, we are very excited about this one. Erin and Abby, thank you guys so much for all of the work you put into this series. It is looking awesome, and we are so excited to see you guys teach it. But we're not done yet. We have one more thing to look at today, which is this event that we were talking about called Flashlight Scavenger Hunt. And now, friends, just a moment of honesty. Everybody makes fun of me every time we talk about this stupid event, because one time we tried to film a video where I was supposed to explain all of these different events and things from kids curriculum. And I had no idea what this event was about. And I tried to explain it in a way that made it seem like I knew. And I said, it's a scavenger hunt with flashlights. Like I was revealing something like the deepest mysteries of the universe. And I knew nothing about it. So Linda, I do know things about it now, but I'm still going to let you walk us through this just in case. I don't have a great reputation when it comes to this event. So tell us all about this. And also, by the way, this is written by Desiree Board.
Desiree.
We love her. So talk to us about this amazing event that I do know about now.
What was funny about that though is when you said that, Kenny was like, all right, just like what the title says.
Kenny totally called me out. Like, Kenny, you got to cover for me, man. He was not playing. No. Okay.
Yeah, it's like what Elle was saying in the intro. It is a spin on the traditional Easter egg hunt, but not so far off because it does involve an Easter egg hunt. Because I know some of us, we can't get away from that. We're like, it's Easter. Kids are expecting Easter eggs. We're just tired of doing it the way we normally do it. And this event is for you if you're feeling all those feels. So first of all, this event should take place at night or in the semi-darkness using flashlights, obviously. And it actually has a theme. It has this mystery theme. So kind of like a Sherlock Holmes clue kind of thing happening here. So you don't have to make this an Easter event if you don't want to. You can do it anytime in the spring or any time of the year, however it works for you. And if you decide not to go the Easter event, you don't have to use Easter eggs. You can use any kind of container you want for this activity. So let me just walk through how it works real quickly. How to play. So there are 3 main stations. There is a recruiting center. There is Kid-tective headquarters.
Oh, cute.
We love puns.
Wait, say hi to Desiree, everyone. There she
Hi,
is. Look at her.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Okay. Oh, look at this shopping list. So many things. These are kind of the things that we always include, friends, with our events of like things to buy, what a schedule looks like, all of that good stuff. So here we go. Here's what you were talking about, the Kid-tective manual.
Yes, Kid-tectives. And then the third zone is the investigation zone. So recruiting center, Kid-tective headquarters, and investigation zone. And this is kind of how the event is structured. So we're going to have people checking in at the recruiting center. That's when they get their little detective badges Kid-tective badges. I got to keep the pun straight. And then once the activity begins, they'll go to Kid-tective HQ and they're going to answer some questions. You're going to give them a case file. So if you scroll to the end, there's a printable with like a case file, which is basically kind of a decode the message kind of file. It looks really nice.
So cute.
Now I have to shout out to Jules for making all these printables look so pretty.
Thank you, Jules Gray. You are our queen.
Yes, there it is, our encrypted case file. So they'll get one of these. Okay. And so they're going to solve for these words. And so once they do that, then they get all the words checked off and okay to go, then they'll enter the investigation zone, which is where the hunt happens. And they're going to be, based on the clues that they just solved, they're going to be looking for Easter eggs that contain the pictures you just saw of like the heart and the cross and whatnot. And these are all Easter related items, obviously the Easter story related items. And so they're going to be searching for eggs that have these pictures inside them. And so there are a few ways you can do this. You could either have them collect the egg with the picture in it, or you can put multiple copies of the picture. If you don't want to use like 10,000 eggs, you can just use like one egg and put like 10 copies of the picture in there, and they just have to take out one picture. It's up to you how you want to do it to be cost effective and just works for your space. Once they collect all the pictures, then they'll come back to Kid-tective HQ and then they fill out the Easter story puzzle, which is they fill in the blank. So in the beginning, they were just solving for words, but now with the new picture clue they have, they get to solve the entire story. So at the end of this event, they get to learn about the full Easter story. So it's awesome.
That is awesome. Linda, we've got a couple people leaving comments right now about just like being aware that, hey, there's still going to be some families who are online who can't come to church this Easter, who like wouldn't want to come to an event like this. Have we talked like as a team or anything about how to adapt this for an online or maybe a take-home kit for families? Any thoughts?
Absolutely. I think the best way online would be difficult, I feel, just because you wouldn't have any of the components. Maybe there's some things that they can do like on their own. Maybe they can solve the puzzle on their own for sure. Like you don't have to do the hunt. You can just give them the files and they can fill it out. Or you can create little kits for them to do at home because they only need to find, I believe, like 12 eggs or 12 images, and you can have parents set that up for kids. That's a really great idea. We do have a couple suggestions for social distancing though, for the investigation zone. Obviously, you want to take all the precautions you normally would, but for the investigation zone where they go to actually hunt for the eggs, you might want to stagger the entry so it's not a bunch of people and just let in one group at a time. And maybe that group is a family or however you want to do it. And then you could actually have them take the eggs so they don't all have to touch it. And then so whatever eggs they find, they collect, they take with them. And then as before the next group comes in, you just hide a new batch of eggs. And that would be one way to do that. And you could also create multiple investigation zones, so like multiple scavenger hunts, so that you won't get it bottlenecked in this one area. Because the point is not for it to be like super complicated. It doesn't have to be hidden like really well. You don't need a lot of space. It's just that they're just looking for the right clues. So I think that would work really nicely.
Yeah. And I would imagine you could probably do a little take home kit for families too, because so like these little instruction sheets and so many printables and things in here. You could take all of the things that we've given you and just package them in a little gift bag or like little take home box and encourage families to just like make their own hunt in their house or in their backyard or whatever. And it's fairly simple, like kind of putting all these things together. Like you don't have to be a Bible scholar to be able to walk through the Easter story, especially with a tool like this. So even families who don't feel super confident in their Bible story teaching skills should be able to do this with some.
Right. And we provide the answer keys as well. And so they can do it on their own. And also, like, the great thing about this one is you don't need events. Like, we don't we don't need items. So you don't need like a little piece of nail or like a thorn or whatever you normally put in these Easter scavenger hunts. It's just pictures. So you can just print.
I just imagined opening an Easter egg, being so excited to get candy, and there's a thorn inside.
A rusted nail to remind you of Jesus.
That's so depressing. This is great. I like this event. Much less depressing than finding a nail in your Easter egg.
Absolutely.
That's so great. Beautiful. Anything else you want to look at on here, or do we cover it all?
Yeah, and there I see a comment in Facebook asking if it's appropriate for preschool. I absolutely think it is. They will definitely need assistance in solving and putting things together, like the puzzle at the end. But I definitely think it's something that you can do with the whole family. So that's a really good thing about this event.
So good. Amazing. Well, Linda, thank you so much for walking us through all of these goodies. March is going to be a really fun month in Grow Kids, and I can't wait to see what all of the wonderful humans who are watching and those who are watching the replay are going to do with all of these goodies. And friends, we're going to be back again next month doing this again for what will be our April resources. So we'll be looking at our April series, which is an Easter series, right, Linda? We're talking about the Easter story. How do calendars work? What day is it? What year is it?
Well, to be fair, it's confusing because sometimes Easter is in March and sometimes it's in April. So
thank you for making me feel better about not knowing.
That's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
I'm not Kenny.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we're going to talk about our April series, and then we are also going to talk about our volunteer celebrations. So friends, if you have the Grow Your Ministry bundle, then you will maybe have discovered this fancy little resource. But if you haven't, we're going to walk you through it, and we're going to talk about some really fun ways to celebrate your volunteers in April and all the way through the rest of the school year. So we are excited to be back next month. Hope to see you there. Come with questions, comments, requests, whatever you want.
Yes, ideas.
Amazing. All right, Linda, any last words before we wrap up here today?
No, nothing really. I'm just excited to see how you guys take it and make it your own, because you guys always elevate what you're given. So we're really excited to create these, but we're even more excited to see how they evolve and work for you. So please let us know. how they are working for you.
Yes, amazing. The beauty of collaboration. The more brains
Absolutely.
that get into the mix, the cooler it gets. So we are
Mhm.
excited to collaborate with you, friends, on all of these things. Let us know if you need us. We're around. You can tag us in the Facebook group. Yeah, whatever you need, we're here. All right, friends, until next time, or in the comments of this post, we will talk to you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.